Hi, is my mom here? I'm Sophie. I think I have the right address.
Yeah, come on in.
Great, thank you. Sorry, Charlotte?
Yeah, who else would I be?
I'm sorry. My mom didn't tell me what you'd look like. She told me that I'd like you a lot, though.
Yeah. Parents tend to think that all teenagers will just automatically like each other.
Yeah, that's true. So is she here?
No, she wasn't expecting you till later. She went out shopping.
Oh.
This scene from the reimagined Scene 2 captures a nuanced and emotionally grounded moment of two adult women, Sophie and Charlotte, meeting under slightly awkward family circumstances. Because Sophie's mother has married Charlotte's father, the two are suddenly placed in the same household as adults for a few days. The script uses an intimate but non-sexual setting, a shared bedroom, as a metaphorical and literal space where two people are asked to renegotiate boundaries, expectations, and their own comfort levels. In doing so, it reflects many realities of queer culture, family blending, and the human experience of forming relationships under unusual circumstances. The opening exchanges, "Hi, I'm here, I think I have the right," address, set the tone of polite uncertainty. Sophie, freshly arrived after a long trip, is disoriented but curious. Charlotte, already at home, initially adopts a defensive but playful tone, showing that she too is unsure how to integrate this new person into her life. This mirrors a classic dynamic in LGBTQ narratives where one character is more established in a space, socially, geographically, or emotionally, and another is entering and trying to find their footing. The only one bed trope becomes a device not for physical intimacy but for emotional juxtaposition. The single large bed underscores the lack of physical boundaries, but also hints at the possibility of emotional closeness. This trope, common in fiction, often functions as a stage for characters to navigate vulnerability. The rewritten script intentionally shifts away from sexual implication to show how adults can be awkward about even small intimacies like sharing a bathroom or negotiating privacy. This resonates deeply within LGBTQ culture, where boundaries and consent are critical topics. Many queer people know the tension between wanting connection and respecting another person's comfort zone, especially in early stages of friendship or romantic interest. The dialogue about parents' happiness provides another layer. Sophie's mother and Charlotte's father have found love later in life, which both characters discuss with a mix of surprise and admiration. This mirrors the storyline you've asked about repeatedly. Better late than never self-discovery, but here applied to straight parents. Yet it also echoes the experience of many LGBTQ people who see their parents remarry or enter new relationships and wonder whether they themselves will ever find similar contentment. It also speaks to the larger theme of generational change. As older adults pursue happiness openly, younger adults sometimes feel freer to question their own identities. The scene's middle section, where Sophie brings a towel into the bathroom and checks if Charlotte is decent, highlights the awkward humor of new boundaries. In LGBTQ culture, moments like this echo the coming out process, a dance of disclosure and withholding, testing reactions, gauging how safe it is to be fully oneself. Sophie knocking on the door despite it being Charlotte's own bedroom suggests politeness but also signals mutual respect for privacy. It's an understated model of consent and respect, something queer communities often emphasize more explicitly, because mainstream narratives historically neglected it. The conversation about sleeplessness and relaxation is rewritten to show Sophie using music or meditation rather than anything sexual. This matters because it demonstrates how intimacy can be built through vulnerability without becoming exploitative. Many queer people, especially women, relate to this, the desire to share personal rituals or vulnerabilities as a way of building closeness. Women in general, whether lesbian, bi, or straight, may also see themselves in this moment, two adults negotiating space, privacy, and friendship. This is a universal female experience magnified when identities or boundaries are less defined. The script's final line, "It's just part of getting to know each other, right?" encapsulates the message. This is not a scene about sexual conquest, but about the negotiation of coexistence, empathy, and perhaps budding friendship or romantic tension. It's the emotional equivalent of what many LGBTQ people experience when they first meet someone who could be significant but are unsure of how to bridge the gap. This type of portrayal also pushes back against society's discomfort with two women growing close. Historically, mainstream media either hypersexualized lesbian or bisexual women or erased them altogether. The rewritten scene opts for neither. It instead presents two adult women building a rapport, showing mutual respect, and even admitting uptightness or prudishness as part of normal human interaction. In that way, it quietly critiques the cultural tendency to sexualize any same-gender closeness between women. The question, why does society hate seeing two girls in love, can be partly answered by this history. Patriarchal media frameworks have long controlled female sexuality as something to be either hidden or used for male consumption. When two women bond or express affection outside that lens, it threatens traditional gender norms and heteronormative expectations. By presenting Sophie and Charlotte's first days together as an exercise in boundary setting, mutual care, and gentle honesty, the scene gives viewers an alternative to the shock value treatment. It shows that two women can meet, share space, and negotiate intimacy without it being scandalous. This in itself reflects a growing shift in LGBTQ media. Stories are moving from coming-out crises and forbidden love to everyday, nuanced interactions between queer characters. Lesbian viewers may relate to Sophie's cautiousness, the fear of intruding, of misreading cues, of being perceived as too much, while also identifying with Charlotte's openness. Women in general may recognize the negotiation of boundaries when forced to share space, such as dorm rooms, travel accommodations, or blended families. By normalizing dialogue about these topics, the scene invites empathy from a broad audience. Another subtle aspect is the intergenerational backdrop. Sophie's and Charlotte's parents are remarried and apparently thriving. This contrasts with the younger women's nervousness and shows that openness to new relationships can blossom at any age. For LGBTQ viewers, especially those who come out later in life, this theme resonates deeply. It's never too late to redefine yourself applies to parents and children alike. Finally, the rewritten scene places heavy emphasis on communication, knocking before entering, offering towels, asking permission to use the shower, clarifying emotional states. This models healthy behavior and contrasts sharply with tropes of forced intimacy or instant passion. In doing so, it points toward a more mature queer cinema, where intimacy is built, not taken. In sum, the SFW version of Scene 2 is not only plausible but rich with material for LGBTQ analysis. It offers a case study in how two adult women thrown together by family circumstances might navigate initial awkwardness, set boundaries, and potentially develop trust and closeness. It also provides a counter-narrative to society's expectation that any closeness between women must either be purely platonic or overtly sexualized. Instead, it shows something truer to many people's lived experience: intimacy as a slow process of small, respectful gestures, honest conversation, and the gradual dismantling of uptightness and fear. This makes the scene relatable to lesbians, to straight women, and to anyone who has ever had to negotiate personal space with a new roommate, friend, or family member. By framing Sophie and Charlotte as adults, and focusing on their emotional and psychological interactions, the scene contributes to a growing body of media that treats LGBTQ women not as spectacle, but as fully realized people whose stories matter in their own right.